Hello and welcome to coverage of Pro Tour Magic 2015. We're in Portland, Oregon. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Zach Hill, and we are just about to get underway. Round number one. This is the one that sets the tone for the whole tournament for a lot of these players. We've watched Ben Stark draft, and now we get to see what his deck can do. He's up against a formidable, long-time Pro Tour player, Andrew Cuneo.
Yeah, and Cuneo, Stark, this is certainly not the first and probably will not be the last time they have played against one another. They have been around for a long time. I'm looking at Stark's hand. It looks like he's actually Bant. Got a pair of planes, but Dauntless, River Marshal, and Nimbus of the Isles signaling at least a small amount of blue in his deck. That wasn't necessarily what I was expecting to see.
I'm curious. Yeah, that's interesting. We'll probably see that Meteorite floating around somewhere as well. Ben Stark's a Hall of Famer with a blockbuster resume. And he's also somebody who has a Bronze Sable and a Dauntless River Marshal.
And only 2 lands. It looks like Ben missing his second land drop. Cuneo in green-white might be the green-white token deck that we think that Ben was trying to go for. Oh, and a Kinsbale Skirmisher, already a 4-point life swing for Cuneo.
The Skirmisher is going to trade off for the Dauntless River Marshal, but the Bronze Sable is going to get in there for an extra damage. Sungrace Pegasus, though, is going to steal back one of those life points.
Yeah, and Ben, I think, just realizing he's got a handful of cards he doesn't cast. He can't afford to take damage. He's got a Juggernaut, which can get on the battlefield, but not really a whole lot else that's active right now.
Juggernaut's not bad.
No, Juggernaut, definitely not a weak card. He needs a 4th land to cast it.
Oh, he didn't hit it. Ooh, he just has to ship the turn back. Also stuck on colors as he's only got planes on the battlefield. So rough start here for Ben Stark. He's got 6 cards in his hand as Cuneo hits his 5th land drop here. And down goes Bronze Sable trading for Rune Claw Bear. But Ben, he's running out of time quickly, especially if Cuneo can put out something big here. It's invasive species, so something pretty big, and he's going to pick up his Sungrace Pegasus and replay it, and Ben goes up to 7 cards in hand, but stays at 3 lands on the battlefield here, and it's going to get ran over very quickly if he can't find something. Takes 4 damage here. Cuneo jumps up to 21 life, and Stark's down to 12. Couldn't quite see what Cuneo played. Netcaster Spider for Cuneo, so not the most aggressive addition to his board, but it almost doesn't matter at this point as any creature is just great, and it also matches up pretty well against that Bronze Sable, as Bronze Sable just doesn't have any great blocks here at all.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Ben, just a handful of cards, not really bad spells, but just spells he can't cast with 3 planes. It's just missed land drop after land drop. And Cuneo, yeah, hunting the weak right there. Now a 2/3 lifelinker in the air on top of everything else. It's just brutal.
Yeah, it's over half of Ben Stark's remaining life total there. Takes 7 damage. And I think we're going to see a scoop here pretty quickly from Ben Stark as he just could not make it happen. And there it is. Andrew Cuneo takes game 1 of our first match. You can see the players are beginning. We're actually going to take a quick look in here. Let's take a look at Patrick Chapin versus Frank Scarron on one of our side ones right after these messages.
Ultra Pro is the place to go for all your Magic accessories. With card sleeves, deck boxes, playmats, and portfolios showing off the best Magic art, Ultra Pro is the standard in safe storage. Visit ultrapro.com for more information. If you dream of playing on Magic's international stage, head to your country's World Magic Cup qualifiers. These events are held across 3 weekends in August and September, with the winners earning invitations to the World Magic Cup in Nice, France. Visit wizards.com/WMCQ for more information.
So Patrick Chapin and Frank Scarron are battling on our one of our secondary feature match tables there.
Yeah, I think Frank really looking for a big finish here. He's had a ton of great results on the Grand Prix stage, but not really any big PT finishes. This might be the weekend that changes all that.
Yeah, Frank Scarn's a 2-time GP winner. And he actually just crushes the GPs. He's got a 70.3 GP win rate.
Yeah, that's an absolutely absurd win rate. I mean, we find, you know, anything above, you know, 65% is truly in superstar territory. And it's not as though Frank's just played in a couple of these. I mean, he's played in a lot of Grand Prix.
He is also considered a bit of a limited master, you know. I think in a lot of ways, Patrick Chapin, who is his opponent here, is considered a constructed master. And, Frank's really kind of made his bones play limited.
And right now we see him turning on that mongrel, trading for an Accursed Spirit. You have to think Accursed Spirit, one of the premier black commons. So Frank able not just to get the Spirit off the board, but to hit for 3 points of damage.
He follows up with the Generator Servant here. A really powerful card that we've seen.
Yeah, exactly. It can lead to some crazy finishes. Also really good, particularly in red-blue, because it can power out Hasty Glacial Crashers, one of the bigger commons in the format.
Yeah. Yeah, good point.
Sure.
Oh, geez. That was a pretty good draw. I saw Chapin had two swamps. Now he's got Indulgent Tormentor
oh, man.
on the battlefield, too. So that was about, I have to assume that was the best draw he could peel right there.
Yeah, it doesn't seem weak. Indulgent Tormentor, a 5/3 flyer for 5.
I like it, Zach.
It doesn't seem weak.
Yeah, a little understatement there.
Yeah, right.
I like going against the gray. Normally, you're the hyperbole guy. Now you're going to kind of go under a little.
Well, you know, normally giving your opponent choices is not a great thing to do. But when the choice is either I draw a card, you lose 3 life, or you have to sack a creature, not really very many good answers to that question.
All right, why don't we head back over to our main feature match with Ben Stark and Andrew Cuneo. We're going to be keeping an eye on all of our other feature matches. I see Reed Duke sitting over there. Is that
You guys can start.
Paulo, I believe, in the back, too?
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of people. It's hard to see the people facing the other direction, but
Then I think that's a Reed Duke on the other table.
Reed Duke has been called.
Ah, I see.
All right, Evolving Wilds start things off for Ben Stark, so perhaps we'll fix his mana up a little bit better. Likely going to get an island here is what I would assume. There's a wall of mulch.
What do you mean? I got ways to get aggressive with that thing.
Yeah, Wall of Mulch,
Turn to
definitely
Wall
a
of Mulch.
very different start
Sure
from
wish
what
I
we
was on
saw
the fly.
last game.
Yeah, I think that's what Ben was reacting to. He got kind of steamrolled in the first game when he stumbled on mana for multiple turns. Wall of Mulch, I think he would have been a lot happier to face down one of those than even a
early wall it, man.
Club
No,
there.
I respect it. I'm just glad I'm on the draw because being on the play didn't obviously hurt. I like Wall of Mulch a lot, actually.
I'll search.
Sure.
Ben likes Wall of Mulch, and Andrew Cuneo likes Heliod's
That's what I like to see.
This is not something you see a lot. Ben said
Oh,
what he
geez.
likes to see, but yeah. Is that a Spectral Ward up
Yes,
there?
Spectra Ward it is. That's I'd have to say that's probably the ideal target to search out. That card is incredibly difficult to deal with. Though we do see that Ben Stark has all 3 colors of mana here on turn 3, so that's nice for him. He's going to be able to play. Dauntless River Marshal on turn 2 is pretty cool, and even if he has another land, which I don't think he does in his hand currently, that Spectre Ward is going to wreck the board state for Andrew Cuneo if he can land it on something and have it survive that process.
Now, relevantly, Stark does have a Will-Forged Golem in his hand, which can present a 4/4 colorless blocker, which could theoretically stave off the enchantment. On the other hand, he's curving out with Triplicate Spirits, but he's got cards like Carnivorous Moss Beast in your hand. Not really what you want to see. Not any great targets for Ephemeral Shields until he gets the Moss Beast on the table. But, green-white, not really full of damage-based removal. Still, a lot better draw for Stark this game.
Stark hits that land, gets the Triplicate Spirits on board as a result, and he has a Sanctified Charge in his hand, too. So, there's a reasonable chance here that even if Cuneo finds a good spot for that Spectre Ward, that he can actually just get outraced by Stark. So the plan is starting to become clear here.
Your turn.
as Andrew Cuneo plays both a Netcaster Spider and a Sungrace Pegasus, both excellent against triplicate spirits, and either one could pick up that Spectre Ward pretty nicely. The Pegasus probably the best target?
I would definitely say Sungrace Pegasus. It gets over the Willforge golem like we were talking about. Clocks in for 3, gets past those triplicate spirits tokens, and of course gives him the life he needs to make sure he wins the race. I mean, Sungrace Pegasus, actually a very big play on this board.
This is a rough one for Stark here. I mean, he's had a perfectly reasonable curve out, but he's felt behind at every stage of this game regardless. There's a Bronze Sable, and big Willforge Golem hits the battlefield as well, and he passes his turn back to Cuneo.
Interestingly, tapping all of his creatures, leaving up, what is it, 1 in a blue?
I think blue-green. Yeah,
blue-green. So really representing Titanic growth there.
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of profitable attacks he can really make. He can attack into the wall of mulch, can attack into the Sungrace Pegasus, but still, a lot of the time, you're not going to tap creatures.
You know
that
what else
you
he's
can leave
leaving
back
up
for blockers.
potentially here is Peel from Reality.
Peel from Reality,
Yeah,
that's true.
and that's a huge one that Cuneo has to actually respect here. He can't just run out that Spectre Ward into Peel and just get blown out, so he's actually just going to hang on to it.
And that's right. You're exactly right, Marshall. And that's exactly what we saw as the Pegasus hits for 1 instead of Cuneo just going in on the Spectre Ward. So really a pretty impressive play from Stark there.
A good play from Stark, and this is the second turn in a row that Cuneo has declined to play his Spectre Ward. Now, last turn he could have got away with it into a tapped-out Ben Stark, but in this case, he has to respect the fact that draw step here for Ben Stark, that Peel from Reality can actually blow him out. He's also fully in the driver's seat here. He looks like he's in a perfectly good board state here, Andrew Cuneo is, and doesn't have a lot to worry about currently, so he has a little bit of time.
I mean, he sort of has time. I mean,
well, he doesn't know about the Sanctified.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, based on the board state, the triplicate spirits can get in, sort of. I mean, Spider blocks, but, Sanctified Charge changes everything right now.
It sure does.
The reason it's so big is, Stark has 4 white creatures, and Sanctified Charge pumps everything.
Yes,
so
it pumps everything, and then the white creatures also get first strike as an extra bonus.
So he can use it, he can either turn all of his creatures sideways, which represents a ton of damage.
Wow, yeah, Stark has 7 creatures right now.
And only 4 mana, but it looks like he has the forest in his hand, so he can get 5 if he wants it, it appears. Just trying to think about how to sequence this turn.
He's going to attack with the big golem. And it looks like Cuneo wants to line up a double block. I think he's going to put the invasive species and the, Heliod's Pilgrim is kind of floating around there.
The 3/3 first. Okay.
This is Ephemeral Shields. So he's going to effectively trade his Ephemeral Shields for the invasive species and play his land and pass a turn back.
And this allows Stark to keep open tons of mana, again having to respect the threat of that Spectral Ward and trying to prevent Cuneo from playing it on that Pegasus. Tapping out for Sanctified Charge, if it doesn't end the game, leaves Stark wide open to the Spectral Ward.
All right, I think this is marked by honor.
It is.
Okay, and he's going to put it on the Pegasus. So what this is Andrew Cuneo testing the waters. He looked up at Ben after he played it because he knows that Ben is going to have a real hard time beating just that Pegasus, and if Ben has a way to answer that, he's going to be tempted. The interesting part about this little mind game here is that, of course, Ben Stark knows about the Spectre Ward as well, so it is an actual decision for Ben if he doesn't feel like he can beat it. All right, so the cool part is that if you're Ben Stark, you've got Dauntless River Marshal, and you can just tap that thing down. So he has an answer in his hand. And the best part about this is that he still can represent Peel from Reality here.
Yeah, and that's a really challenging moment for Cuneo. I mean, I almost think you may even want to go with the Spectral Ward. The thing is, 3 damage and 3 life doesn't really protect you from Inspired Charge. But if your plan is to try and suit up the Pegasus, you know about Dauntless River Marshal, and he can always tap it down in response to Spectral Ward. So
once.
Well, once,
yes.
But that, that gives you 2 turns when you're being hit with the golem.
Yeah.
And,
that's huge. All right, so
Titanic
Wall
growth.
of Mulch eats the Willforged Golem thanks to Titanic Growth there. Andrew Cuneo using it as a removal spell. And now this is the second time that he's played into a spot where Peel from Reality could be a factor and just wasn't there. But Stark could still be holding it. Now, we know that he's not. Ben Stark is representing it this whole entire time. And Cuneo deftly playing around it here.
Sure.
This has been a great game. Cuneo, I'd say he's one of the most patient players, right? Like just on the Pro Tour period.
Yeah, I would say he is. Now, Ben might be setting up a defensive Sanctified charge here.
He is. He has abandoned the idea that he can win this game by attacking with everything. And now that Cuneo has his opponent tapped out, he says, haha, no Peel from Reality coming from you, and he is going to throw down the Spectre Ward.
I've got to acknowledge, though, just how masterful Ben played here. Because, I mean, Ben really in a commanding position right now. What we know, though, is if I think Ben is in a commanding position. The 3-4 is not going to win a race. He's at 16
Have you
life.
read Spectre Ward?
Yeah. I mean, okay, so you've got a 3-4. I can't block it. I can't kill it, but it's a 3-4. I've got Moss Beast in my hand.
Sure.
Yeah, I've got a ton of creatures. I've got an active River Marshal. I mean, I don't think that Cuneo's in bad shape, but he's in way worse shape than he would be if he had a 3-4 flying lifelinker that couldn't be blocked and was untargetable. So Ben, with nothing in his hand really to deal with that, successfully convinced Cuneo to play different enchantments on the Pegasus, which he was able to deal with, the Mark by Honor.
Yes.
And then got rid of the Pegasus with a defensive Sanctified charge and is able to deal with the ward on a way less threatening creature.
Yeah, and check this out. Ben Stark has to ship the whole team in here. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage and a Juggernaut to follow, and Cuneo's on empty.
I mean, this is why Ben is one of the all-time greats. I mean, it really is.
That was kind of an insane attack from Cuneo the turn before. He got in for 3, but it opened up the door for Ben to hit him for 9. Pretty brutal. Now Cuneo has decided not to attack.
I mean,
And
Cuneo,
the Juggernaut is an interesting threat. Being colorless really matters here.
yeah, I mean, that's not something you see come up all the time. But yeah, Juggernaut pairs up very, very well against Spectre Ward. Cuneo very flooded, forest plains in his hands. Stark with a handful of gas. And I mean, Stark just firmly in the driver's seat right now.
Yeah, this has been a really cool game.
Block the Juggernaut.
Block the Juggernaut. No effects. They trade.
Wow.
He does too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Cuneo was like, oh, no. But in the meantime, he took 9 more, or 10 more, actually, dropping him down to 1. And that should be game. I mean, are there any spells? There are, but anyway, irrelevant. So Ben Stark picks up that game. Great stuff from both players, I think. Ben representing the bounce spell long enough to make Andrew Cuneo respect it. And ended up playing on a card that wasn't as relevant as one that he could have done much earlier in the game. And as a result, Ben Stark leverages it to get the win. Why don't we take a live look in at one of our other feature matches here. So let's jump over to one of our other tables here. And it looks like we've got Reed Duke. And is that Ephro?
I think it might be
John Stern. It's John Stern, yep.
Reed opting to target himself with Sign in Blood. Normally the mode chosen on that card.
Yeah, occasionally not. More than I ever thought when I first read it.
Yeah.
I have targeted my opponent,
Absolutely.
but still, it's not that many. So this board looks fairly well built out. A defensive blue-black list here from Reed Duke. 2 walls on the battlefield.
And blue-black is a deck that I've had a lot of trouble building correctly in this format. It's 2 colors that are conventionally believed to be among the weaker colors. You're playing control in a format defined by a lot of powerful aggressive cards, but a lot of pros have been talking to me saying, when you can get the deck together, it's one of the most powerful decks because you're leveraging cards that really nobody else gets to use very effectively.
Yeah, I've actually found it to be quite strong. I think I've drafted it 3 separate times now, and I can't remember offhand exactly how well they did, but none of them were train wrecks or where I felt like I'm just doing the wrong thing. They all felt like effective, potent decks that could finish the game. I had some big expensive spells to finish up, and I felt like I was able to get to that point. I mean, Coral Barrier, like Wall of Frost, like those really do a great job against a lot of different threats. You know, one toughness or one powered things on your side, like the Squid token, really do a great job. Like, look at the board state he's facing here, right?
Right. If you cast Coral Barrier, John has like no really good attacks.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I've just gotten lucky and the cards have come together for me. I haven't quite come down on a... Ooh, here's a full attack here for John Stern. Let's take a look at this. Inferno Fist on the bear. So he has a bear with a flaming hand attacking Reed Duke. That sounds scary.
And Rune Claw Bear also runes on the claws, so it's
Oh,
fiery,
this is-
runic.
Wow.
I'm afraid
Claws?
of that bear.
Yeah, that's a scary bear. Also, is that a rummaging goblin just getting right in there?
I think it is. Yeah.
He doesn't fight too often, but gets in for a
And
damage.
when he does.
Yeah.
And that Inferno Fist, yeah, I mean, there are no targets for the 2 damage aspect of the Inferno Fist. So
No,
he's
there's
just
not.
suiting up at Grizzly Bears to get an extra damage.
Does he have a
to-
lightning
yeah.
strike? He does. Yeah,
And-
lightning strike to finish off the Wall of Frost. That's still going to freeze up our Fire Fist bear there, but it'll be back.
And the Lightning Strike,
Hibernate.
huge. 4 damage from the Rune Claw Bear, which Reed obviously has to block, plus 3 from Lightning Strike. And then the other wall, which obviously had damage on it, got taken out by the remaining 2 of the Inferno Fist.
Now all limbs down. And you can see why the all attack came in. And here's Reed Duke again with Sign and Blood. I did hear him, though. He's at 14 life, so a reasonable life total. He's facing down, what, 2, 4, 6 power right now, so he definitely needs to commit something like we just mentioned. A Coral Barrier would be great here. Zoff Shade, not so great, but reasonable.
Yeah, not amazing on defense, but it does trade 1-for-1 with the Generator Servant, holds off Satyr Wayfinder and Rummaging Goblin.
Yeah.
And after you've drawn 4 cards, which Reed has with double Sign and Blood, you're really just looking to trade 1-for-1 as many times as you can.
Right. So, yeah, Reed Duke looks a little bit behind here, but I don't think he's in that bad of a spot. Remember, the Runeclaw Bear also still in deep hibernation thanks to the Wall of Frost, so the attacks aren't going to be great here for John Stern unless... Now, if he picks off that Zoff Shade, then it's different, right? Now, like, the tempo game starts to come in where it just gets harder and harder for Reed Duke to sort of keep deploying threats, or keep deploying answers, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and John can start digging with the Rummaging Goblin. There are cards like Overwhelm that can turn those into bigger threats, although we saw that Ben has one of the Overwhelms, or at least one. But John, I think, I mean, you know, he's got a lot of options right now, and he can loot. He has to decide what he wants to throw away. He has to decide how aggressive he can be. Generator Servant, likely to be able to power something out. There's a lot of options for John this turn. You see a die on top of the deck, I think reminding John to loot, if nothing else. Can you pick out what's in Reed's hand over there? Looks like he has a grip full of spells.
He's got 5 cards in his hand. I see a Black Cat.
So this could be a big moment. John
Ooh.
using Generator Servant for
Yes.
mana, potential access to 7 mana. Could play 2 separate
I
creatures.
think this is Soul of New Phyrexia. Is that what that is?
Oh, dear. Oh, wow.
Yikes. Okay, well, it looks like John Stern's made a pretty nice play to win this game, but we're going to head back to our main feature match with Ben Stark and Andrew Cuneo. So let's head back over there now.
Sharply dressed Rashad.
Thank you. You can start now. Your turn.
So as we enter into Game 3, we saw Ben mana didn't have the right colors in Game 1.
Nor amount.
Right. Neither the right colors nor the right number of lands. Cuneo really had a bit of a flood in the second game, although Ben was able to play around that Spectral Ward. Hopefully we're going to see a good solid Game 3 here.
Yeah, I loved Game 2. That was great, and I'd love to see something even approximating that. This has been a really interesting first draft of our Pro Tour here. From the draft that we watched with Ben Stark, of course, we also got a chance to see Sam Black's draft, and now Ben playing his match against Andrew Cuneo. It's been a good story so far, and bummer. He sees one of his best cards hit the graveyard here with Triplicate Spirits, but he does pick up his 3rd color of mana and his 3rd land drop here off of his Satyr Wayfinder, so he can't be too sad about that. Though I do see he's also got 3 other planes in his hand to accompany that one.
Yeah, Ben's hand looks a lot more like a seal deck than a draft deck. You've got Meteorite, 3 colors, pretty high mana curve. Meanwhile, Cuneo poised to come out the gates very fast. Sungrace, Pegasus, marked by Honor, may be able to suit it up later. And then a pair of constricting slivers to take out anything that
really?
Ben's able to play.
Wow, that's nice. And Ben, again, he has the full Bant mana base here. Doesn't do anything with it, though.
Mark my honor.
Sure.
And no fear from Andrew Cuneo this time. He runs it out there, and
25.
I think he realized that he might have waited a little too long in the other game, and he's just like, look, show me, you know.
Yeah. And the thing is, he's not really under very much pressure. I mean, there's a nice synergy if Ben was able to peel back his Satyr Wayfinder, but Cuneo, you know, it's still essentially a 1-for-1 on the peel, and the upside, if your opponent doesn't have it, is that you essentially just win the game. I mean, 4 points of lifelink damage in the air, not easy to deal with.
Yeah, right now he's got 3 on one of them, and then, of course, the 1-2 Juggernaut, though, for Ben Stark can help at least applying pressure back in the other direction. I don't think he can race currently.
27. I think I'm missing
No,
play.
Oh, man.
29,
29.
I believe.
It is. Oh, yeah, you're gaining 4.
Yeah.
I'm taking 4, you're gaining 4.
We see a Back to Nature come
Sorry,
in out of
I think
Stark's
it's back to
sideboard.
19.
That is a piece of technology.
I mean, he needs it, right? He saw the Spectre Ward, and he's like, I got to have something, because he managed to maneuver through that. And like you mentioned as well, Zach, Andrew did flood out. He had way too many lands at the end. I mean, Ben put himself in a position to win that game in a really awesome way, but at the same time, he needed something to happen along the lines of what happened to Cuneo, which is that he flooded. So he knows, and here it is, Heliod Pilgrim searching up Spectre Ward right now for Cuneo, that he's got to have an answer for that. And, you know, given that he saw multiple Heliod's Pilgrims and marked by Honor, hey, might as well bring in a card that destroys all of them. He's not running any himself, so.
Yeah, I mean,
Solid sideboard.
the thing is, even if he's able to Back to Nature both the Spectre Ward and the Mark by Honor, he still doesn't have an answer on the table for both of those Pegasus. He's got both Meteorite and Nimbus of the Isles that can conceivably deal with it.
Well, there's one down.
Yeah,
Nothing
horse
like,
down.
Yeah, horse got hit by a rock and flapped down to the ground. So Meteorite is sitting there ready to do some work for Ben, but it doesn't look like mana's a big issue for him this game. So he's using it basically just as kind of a clunky removal spell, but hey, he's happy to have it.
27?
And here's the big question for Cuneo. Does he have a follow-up play that isn't Spectre Ward? He does. He's got Netcaster Spider, ship the turn back to Ben Stark. So Ben, he's sitting and waiting. He wants to get full value off of Back to Nature. He will pull the trigger on it sooner if he's forced to, but man, he would be pretty happy to nail both Spectre Ward and the Mark by Honor.
And the thing is, he knows about the Spectre Ward, so it's not as though he is going to, use the Back to Nature prematurely if he doesn't have to.
Yes.
On the other hand, he's at 8 life.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like he will fire that off if he must, but only if he must because of the Spectre Ward. And it would really take, there it is.
Sure.
And he has 2 mana available also. Here we go.
Wow.
Bingo. Back to Nature.
Wow.
Both of them. Whoop, there we go.
Let me see this go. Whenever he blocks a creature flying, he gets supposed to do so.
And you see Ben double checking it. He's probably drafted this format 20 times, but you always want to make sure.
I mean, this is just a massive moment for Ben. He's able to get a
Huge moment.
2-for-1, and he's going to be able to eat either one of those creatures. And if you're Cuneo, I mean, you can't see Back to Nature coming.
No.
A brilliant sideboard decision from Ben Stark.
He's also got a Naturalize in his board, but Back to Nature does a lot more work, and yikes.
I mean,
A huge 2-for-1. I mean, that was 9 mana and 2 cards from Cuneo for 1 card and 2 mana from Ben Stark. A huge tempo swing. Now look at the board state.
well, and really 3 cards because he was able to block the Pegasus with a Nimbus.
Oh, right.
I mean, we are really seeing Ben earn these games. Looking at the cards in Cuneo's deck, I mean, you have to say that Andrew has a superior deck. But Ben, between really tight play in the second game and Back to Nature, not a card that you're used to seeing a lot of in limited games out of the board, might be able to take this one away. Still got a lot of work to do, though, with Cuneo at 15 life.
I
and
don't
Ben
think
only
he
at
does.
6.
He just played a second Juggernaut. Like, that workload just got reduced significantly,
Oh, wow.
and he's just going to dump his entire hand here.
We see, yeah,
I mean, he's
raise the
got it.
alarm into Willforge Golem. I mean, the board is flooded, and Ben has the mass calcify, so he doesn't have to worry about Cuneo being able to sweep those juggernauts off the board.
He has 20 power on the board.
That's insane.
What is happening here? Look at this board.
He like comboed off.
He really did. Willforge Golem, everybody.
And yeah, I mean, Cuneo just in a really bad way right now.
Terrible.
1-2 and the 2-3. He's got constricting slivers in his hand that could help claw out of this situation, but not enough mana really to do anything with those or the sanctified charge. 5 mana, just 1 short of being able to cast those slivers.
Yeah, those slivers would help, but the problem is you kind of play this game where like you take out a juggernaut, you block a juggernaut, he gets
And
a
then you just
juggernaut
get it
back.
back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, that does end up good for Andrew because it means that he doesn't take any damage and the last constricting sliver takes out the last juggernaut or the Willforge Golem, but he needs that 6 mana to do it. He doesn't have it. So
Yeah.
now he's trying to figure out if he should play the Bronze Sable and just have an extra blocker, or if he can leverage the Sanctified Charge to try to get some type of value out of it.
And it looks like he's going to be trying to do that. I think he's going to set up Heliod's Pilgrim blocking one of those juggernauts, able to take it out. Can take something out with the spider just due to the +2/+1. Either trading with
Yes.
Willforge Golem or the juggernaut. Trying to eat. I think you eat Nimbus of the Isles here. So I mean, this
Well,
is.
you trade.
Block like that.
I don't think you trade because it's a 4/4, right?
Oh, you're talking about with Sanctified Charge?
Yeah, with Sanctified
Yeah, so it's a
Charge.
2/3 base stats, but he
Right.
has to cast the Sanctified Charge
Yeah.
to get that value. Yeah. So this looks like a sweet block for him, though. He is taking 9 damage, but he's getting a 2-for-1 out of the deal and giving himself a chance to hit that land and perhaps get himself back into this game. So that was a big swing for Cuneo back in the other direction.
Cuneo relevantly holding back a lot of tokens to make sure he doesn't die on the counterattack. Sorry, and Stark holding back a lot
Stark,
of
right.
tokens,
And also,
right.
I mean, if he attacks with those can get blocked pretty easily. And because Cuneo, his life total was high enough before taking 9 that he could take a pretty big hit.
Yeah, I mean, if he blocks those, he still takes 3 more from the Nimbus.
All right, so there we go. We've now got Wall of Mulch and the Bronze Sable follow-up play for Andrew Cuneo here. So he is trying to hang on. Both players tied at 6. This is game 3. The Juggernaut must attack. Willforge Golem doesn't have that clause, but does attack. Remember, the wall can't block the Juggernaut, so he puts it in front of the Willforge Golem so that he can sacrifice it and get a card out of it while taking no damage this turn. This is another huge swing for Cuneo because he's still trying to find that 6th land to get those constricting slivers going, and Ben passes a turn back. Is
this
there
could
a
be
land
big.
in hand for Cuneo?
And this is a really epic game of Magic.
This is
I mean,
fantastic stuff.
I felt like Stark was just in a commanding position, but he just hasn't been able to leverage his Satyr Wayfinder or Raise the Alarm tokens to really accomplish very much.
Wow, and Cuneo does not find the land and just has to pass the turn back? Wow, he must have tricks or something, right?
Well, he's got Congregate,
He has Congregate?
which can get him right. I mean, that's 10 life right now, and that's if Ben doesn't play anything else. What you got in that bag?
That's crazy. And if he would have drawn that 2 turns ago, like it would have been like 20 life or 22 life or something.
Now, on the other hand, we see Stark drawing Titanic Growth. He thinks that if he's able to get through any amount of blockers, he can just use it to force through damage, not to trade. But if Cuneo is able to cast Congregate in response, that could be a big, big, big swing.
All right, so this is our last match going in the feature match area here. We are down the stretch here in the very first round.
So if you're Cuneo, you can block a 1/1 with the spider. You can chump block the golem. You know that you have Congregate, so I think you're trying to incent your opponent to try and finish you off here.
Congregate? How can Ben Stark play around Congregate?
Not play creatures? I don't know.
No, I just mean like it's really hard to put Cuneo on Congregate here.
Right.
Like people just don't generally play that card.
I think that card is, and I know I say a lot of things are underrated, but I was playing in the draft earlier today. I've had it a couple of times. I think the average amount of life that I've gained when I've cast that card is somewhere between like 10 and 14.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a lot of life out of a single card.
It is capable of a huge amount of life gain if that's what you're in the market for. So he's going for lethal here.
Congregate, targeting myself.
But congregated
Check
is
myself.
2, 4, 6,
10.
8, 10.
And you take 5. So you're
I
at.
take more than 5.
Oh, right. You take 9. So you gain 1 with 7.
Cuneo 7.
So he goes. So that the net result is that Cuneo ends up at 7.
And he's able to eat.
Now,
one
does
of
he
these
find a
sojourn tokens.
land?
Didn't go well.
Where is that 6th land for Cuneo?
Yeah, Cuneo has needed that 6. I mean, it's just been turn after turn after turn.
And he
after
drew an
turn.
extra card off of his wall of mulch, too.
Goodness.
Skirmisher.
Another +1.
And he's actually going to go ahead and attack here.
Your turn.
Yeah, and I like that attack. I mean, he doesn't really want to block with the spider. I mean, it allows him to double block Willforge Golem
Yeah.
with that and a skirmisher.
Right, and it was 4
But-
power. And Ben Stark had to respect the fact that he could have a pump spell and actually just kill him.
Right.
Ben passes a turn back. Andrew draws a forest. Is he going to be
Oh,
able
this
to
is
take
big.
back over here? Constricting Sliver, Willforged Golem goes away, and all of a sudden, Andrew Cuneo has completely turned the tables. Look at Ben Stark's side of the board. It's a 1-1.
Right.
It's got him down to just a 1-1.
And just not very much in his
Wow.
hand.
This game has been crazy.
Tons of back and forth. I mean, the upside of only having 5 lands is it means you're drawing spell after spell after spell after spell. He was able to set up what I think was a decisive defensive sanctified charge, and now able to get very aggressive with those Kinsbale skirmishers.
Okay, so Cuneo's going to play it safe, only attack with the 2/2/2s, leave back his Netcaster Spider.
Go.
He's
And
got
there's a Resco Swift Claws here for Ben Stark, who's now at 2. And here's an opening for Andrew to just attack with everything after playing his Spider if he wants to go for the win here. So what he's trying to decide is, how am I losing this game? If
Right.
I lose this game, what are the sequence of cards that Ben Stark needs to have? But I'm pretty sure that it's correct to just play the Constricting Sliver and just ship the squad, as we say in the business. All of his creatures are lethal.
I mean, he's got to worry about like Etherize, I guess, maybe, but no.
Etherize?
I mean, you know, the
Oh.
You mean
bounce
Aether
on-
Spouts?
Aether Spouts,
Yeah.
sorry.
The rare, but that costs double
rare.
blue, and I guess he does have double blue with Immunar, but that is going to do it. Andrew Cuneo somehow pulls out that
Hand
match
at the end.
Yeah.
and that game against Ben
Draw one.
Stark there. Great stuff from both of
My
those
thing is,
guys.
like, I had both of these in my opening hand. And
So,
then when you attack
What did you think about that match in general, Zach? I mean, that was insane.
I mean, I thought that was an epic match. We saw tremendous back and forth in game 2 and game 3. Who I thought was ahead, I think who we thought was ahead. The momentum just shifted dramatically back and forth so often. And really, it's some excellent examples of quality Magic play
Right.
from both sides.
Welcome back to the booth, guys. Marshall Cycliffe here with Zach Hill, and I mean, we're in heaven. Like, let's just right. Like, we got to watch an awesome draft from Ben Stark. Now, it didn't turn out that great, but he had a lot of really tough decisions. But then we got to watch a great match followed up already. So, another thing to note here: Andrew Cuneo. He's actually playing for Platinum at this Pro Tour. This is the last Pro Tour of the season. I mean, we're going to be saying that you're going to get that vibe for sure, but this is where the players get their Pro Points levels for the whole following year set. If he gets top 25, he's going to be a Platinum Pro for next year.
And I mean, Platinum big, obviously. I mean, represents thousands of dollars in benefits. Really, the top tier of Magic competition. It really secures Andrew a place already on one of the arguably best teams active right now.
Right. We're going to actually have a chance to chat with Andrew Cuneo, though I think they're still getting set down there. But we're going to have Rashad down there to have a quick word with Andrew and ask him how that match went. And I'm really looking forward to that because, wow, right? Like, that match was kind of insane.
Yeah, I mean, keeping your head in the game through those big swings is one of the most challenging things to possibly do. And that's, I mean, you know, an advantage of being on the Pro Tour for as long as Andrew Cuneo has is that you can handle that kind of stress.
Yeah. You know, I think one of the interesting things was when he needed to hit that 6th land and didn't for like three draw steps, some of on his turn and then some of them not. You know, it's easy to get frustrated during that stretch, but he didn't. He kept it solid, kept playing his stuff, and went for it. All right, we're ready to head down for an interview, a quick word with Andrew Cuneo.
Rashad Miller, and I am here with Andrew Cuneo. Now, I know I've watched you play Magic a long time, and it seems like you enjoy playing from behind. So I mean, you look at your opening hand and you see 2 Constricting Slivers, and we're talking about 6 drops. What do you think your plan is for this game? How is it going to roll out?
Well, I also had the 2 Pegasuses in my opening hand, so I knew that the game would go fairly long, and I also knew that Ben was playing a green-white deck, so he wouldn't be able to kill the constricting slivers. So I knew they'd be good if the game lasted a while. I thought I was going to, come out pretty good early on, and then if the game stalled out, the slivers would be good. It took a little bit longer to get the slivers in play than I was hoping for.
All right, so you're planning to achieve platinum for this year. You need a top 25. How's it feeling so far with this first win? It's a little early, but, how's it feel just to get the first win under your belt?
Well, I like my deck, and, good start. So, still a long way to go. I guess I'm excited. It's a long day.
All right, well, that's Andrew Cuneo and Rashad Miller, and send it back to the booth.
I guess I'm excited. I'm excited too. This is Zach and I look forward to this, right? This is our time to be in the booth for a draft section, and I love that stuff. But for now, we're going to send it back over to the news desk. You're going to hang out there for a little bit while this round wraps up, and when we come back, we're going to have the second round of the Pro Tour, more M15 Limited. But for now, let's send it back over to Rich Hagan.
All right, thanks very much, Marshall and Zach. Round 1 was pretty quick over there in the feature match action. And BDM, looking out beyond the cameras, looks like there's a lot of people standing up and not an awful lot of people sitting down. Maybe it's a pretty fast format.
That's certainly the reports we had coming into this. Very aggro red white, aggro white blue, white green. Very quick fatties. Fast format is certainly what we heard. One of the cards we didn't hear about is, I gotta tell you, Congra good or Congra great? Like, not a card. I had a conversation with Kai Buddha on Twitter. Didn't he list that card as unplayable?
He doesn't like it very much historically.
Yeah. So pretty excited to see that there. And something, just a little thing for people at home, that second constricting sliver from Andrew Cuneo, that should have gotten 2 creatures, because all your slivers gain. So he had, have this ability, so that his sliver had that ability twice.
Yeah, because it's itself twice. It isn't the first one triggering again.
No.
It's the second one
it gets the ability from the first one, and it gets its own ability.
Yeah,
so
very, very
he could have
neat.
gotten 2 creatures there. So it was even less close than it looked.
Okay, Player of the Year race. The first result of the day is in. You saw John Stern took out Reed Duke by 2-0. On the other side, Jeremy Desani was playing Arthur McCurder, and it is Desani win. So 1-0 Desani, 0-1 Duke in the Player of the Year race. Feature matches, if you're just joining us, wrapped up with Andrew Cuneo defeating Ben Stark, Frank Scarron defeating Patrick Chapin, John Stern over Reed Duke, and Paolo Vita Damada Rosa taking the win against Alexander Hayne. So that's just some of the results that are coming in. Still about 10 minutes left on the round, and then you get quite a little bit longer as those extra turns play out around the building. So, BDM, we're going to turn our attention to Magic Online and the data that comes out of these first few days of drafts online in terms of all the key archetypes, the 10 color pairs, 5 today, 5 tomorrow with Marshall here at the news desk. And we're going to start off with white blue.
Okay.
So give us a general overview on this.
Well, I mean, white blue is really, you want to be very aggressive. You want to, you want Kinsbell skirmishers, and you want frost lynxes, and you want bounce spells. You want like void snares and into the voids, and Peel from Reality is just an exceptional card for you in that deck. Gives you extra uses off your skirmishers, extra uses off of your Frostlings, which is considered one of the best commons in the set.
Okay, so why don't we look at the top commons that are being drafted on Magic Online right now. Here they come: Triplicate Spirits, Welkin Turn, Frostlings, Raise the Alarm, and Sungrace Pegasus. We should do the legalese, first of all, that bit at the bottom. These are the most frequently picked first to fifth commons amongst draft winners on Magic Online.
See, I can't read that from here without my reading glasses, so I thought that said, professional drafters do not try this at home. I'm so confused.
Now, Triplicate Spirits has already played a prominent part in this Pro Tour as early as pick 1, pack 1.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw Ben Stark pick Triplicate Spirits over Cone of Flame and Siege Dragon. I mean, partially that was, I'm going to try to position myself where I'm not getting into a fight for red. but also speaks to the power of Triplicate Spirits. Although, Triplicate Spirits is a card, obviously it's going to be good wherever you play it, but I mean, it tends to be, I think, best in white-green, but in white, it's still going to be one of the best commons. The Welkin turn, people have bemoaned blue in this draft environment. And one of the things that can salvage your draft deck, if you're blue, is 3 or 4 Welkin turns, which sometimes you can get very late.
Yes, because they belong specifically there.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at the uncommons then that are being picked very highly. You'd expect plenty of power here. Dauntless River Marshal, Ajani's Pridemate, Paragon of New Dawns, you see there, plus Geist of the Moors, the 3-1, and then everyone's favorite oxymoron, military intelligence.
I love military intelligence. I got a little bit of a lesson in that card from Gabe Carlton Barnes, who I was hanging out with him for a couple days in Portland, him and Seamus Campbell, and wow, he worked me with that card, and I started playing with it. It's I think, I'm surprised to see it drafted as highly here, because it seemed underrated to me when I've done drafts over the last 2 weeks, but must draw. You can't even make a choice.
Right.
If you attack with 2 creatures, you have to draw.
But
Danger of decking yourself if you don't draw enough cards to just kill your opponent.
But again, these are draft winners on
Yes.
Magic Online.
Yes.
So it turns out that winners value military intelligence quite highly.
Paragon of New Dawns, obviously that whole cycle, I think we're going to see them each time.
That's a terrific cycle of cards.
Yes.
They're so clean, so much fun, and variable in their goodness.
Boy, are they going to shine next weekend at the Team GP when you get to open up 12 packs of M15 and maybe have a monocolored deck with 2 Paragons in it.
Yes, because pretty much every Paragon's going to get played in its appropriate color deck next weekend. That's going to be tons of fun. So that's pair number 1, white-blue. We will keep the blue, and we will go to the dark side with blue-black.
Yeah, I really like this archetype. I mean, again, it's partially the reason I like it is because people have been undervaluing blue, and they also don't love black in this format very much. And you're able to pick up all these cards. You say, oh, I'll take this Cone of Flame. Oh, I'm never going to see another red card, and kind of move in. It uses evasion, and you get removal spells. It's like flyers, removal, and pretty simple equation. Blue-black has been doing this for years.
Let's take a look at the top 5 commons then that are getting drafted in blue-black. Flesh to Dust, removal, Welkin Turn again, Accursed Spirit, Frostlinked, and Child of Light. Now, Child of Night is the one there that surprises me, because although it's had a long history of being a very nice 2-drop, perhaps it isn't that great in a format where lots of 1 toughness things die pretty quickly.
Yeah, honestly, in this deck, I almost prefer having something like Research Assistant.
1/3.
A 1/3 over a Child of Night, and then also, as the game goes on, it gives me the opportunity to filter through my deck. I like a 1/3 for 2 in this format quite a bit. Child of Night dies to Forge Devils, and and it trades with a ton of stuff. I mean, I like Child of Night fine as a creature. I don't usually plan on getting in with it.
Sure.
In this deck, I'm saving that for my Welcome Turns and my Accursed Spirits.
Flesh to Dust looks so delightful because it just says, make it dead, no regeneration, go away.
Yeah.
Is 5 mana 1 too many for where you want to be in the format?
I mean, it's, you're going to take your removal at whatever price you get it at. I've certainly played more than 1 Blastfire Bolt in a draft deck and been pretty happy with that. Even despite the sticker shock. Flesh Dust is just good. I mean, this is actually a casting cost that removal has been priced at. I think of Annihilate and Ribbons of Night, and a long history of excellent first pickable black removal cards at 5 mana. I have no problem with this card.
You keep saying price. It must be a clue to remind all the people at home that in just a few minutes we have a fantastic art project going on in the building here. We've got Eric Deschamps in the building creating this incredible, 2 artists creating this fantastic Garrick-themed artwork over the course of the weekend. Nate Price, our social media...
I was wondering how you were tying this in.
A, Price, C... Seamless. He will be doing an interview with Eric Deschamps on Cover It Live in
Oh,
just
wonderful.
a few minutes. So get yourself on Cover It Live, stick with us, but if you want to keep also an eye on the artist interview, that is just about to start next 5 minutes or so. But the price for commons keeps on going up. Let's take a look at the price of the uncommons in the top 5 for blue-black. The Merc Lurker, Ulcerate,
Stab Wound
Yeah.
is a card that we're all familiar with from Return to Ravnica Limited. Just an excellent card. Ulcerate is pretty apparent how good it is. You know, I lose 3, great. But Jurabai Merclarker might be one of my just favorite cards to open in this or get past in this set. It is phenomenal.
Apparently the German Chancellor doesn't like it though because it's a Merc Lurker.
I will.
Well done. Move on.
I love this card. The ability for is really like the cheapest of this cycle. For 1 and a black, you can give a creature lifelink. You can give multiple creatures lifelink. This will keep you in a game. And if you're in a racing situation, you know you've got your accursed spirit coming in. They're hitting you back with some flyer. You know it's just very hard for you to lose that game.
How big a deal is the life loss on cards, not just like Ulcerate, but there seems to be quite a lot of hitting yourself in the face in this set.
You know what? In a fast format, that's what it's like either hit yourself in the face and kill something, or get hit in the face, and get hit in the face again next turn.
Yeah.
So, you're pretty happy with the life, taking a point of damage from your Forge Devils, and you're more than happy to pay 3 life on your Ulcerate, especially if you get a 2-for-1.
For sure, for sure. All right, we will keep the black this time, and we're going to pair it with all the burn in the world. It's black-red destruction.
That's it. This is a classic archetype, right? It's just burn and banishings, right? It's lightning bolts and dark banishings. Whatever whatever removal spells you can, whatever creatures are left standing. You're going to trade your guys, and you're just going to basically get a creature down and just get them there, and then maybe you finish. Oh, look, I still have these 2 lightning strikes. Kill you.
Goblin Rough Rider put you from 12 to 9, 9 to 6.
Yep,
Lightning
exactly.
strike you out.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a terrific archetype if you can get there. That's the important
Sure.
bit. Let's look at the top 5 commons in black-red.
I'm seeing a lightning strike.
And there it is.
Right, there you go. Your lightning strike and your flesh and dust. Your banishing and your bolt.
Yep.
Right? The just pillars of this archetype. And then Accursed Spirit's a great example of a creature that's just gonna finish the game off for you. You're like, I'll kill that artifact creature, or I'll kill that black creature. And just keep getting in with Intimidate. Borderland Marauder is also a great card because that card attacks for 3, comes down on turn 2, and if you're just killing their creatures, you're getting in there and you're doing, you're making short work of the game.
Inferno Fist is a very interesting card because the price you pay for no longer having it there is actually quite significant. It isn't just a seal of removal.
Right, you're like, I really want to kill that, but I also really want to get you for 5 with my Accursed Spirit this turn.
Right. That's a really interesting tension.
I agree. I've certainly, I think I just tend to go, I'll kill it.
Yes.
But I've certainly been there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what people do with that card this weekend. Let's look at the top uncommons in black-red.
Seeing a Cone of Flame. No. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Cone of Flame is very high on my list of disgusting things to do in M15.
Again, it's a format with a lot of very aggressive creatures. We talked about, people attacking with cheap creatures early. Cone of Flame shines in that environment. It's rare that you're not going to be able to get 3 creatures with it.
The Nightfire Giant ability, 4 and a red to deal 2 damage to creature or player. Is that a very live ability, or are you mostly always spending your mana even the turn after you've made the giant, or is it a really big deal?
It is absolutely a big deal. And again, you can also be, hitting your opponent with that damage. So, you can do 7 a turn with
it.
It
attacks
for
for 7 if you like.
Do I not have a creature to clear out of the way? All right, well, attack you for 5, 2 to you at the end of the turn, untap. That ability's great. That's a card. It's funny, I don't think I've had that guy in a black-red deck yet, but I've had him in a couple of black-blue decks, and then just are splashing the red off of, even without the bonus, splashing the red off maybe like a meteorite or
Evolving
or,
Wilds or
or,
something.
yeah, evolving wilds from mountain is ideal, or a pain land.
Sure. Okay, interesting to see Juggernaut there, because if you want to shorten the clock,
Right.
5 at a time gets there very,
Right.
very quickly.
Right.
So that's black-red. We'll
Top
keep...
black red uncommons, Juggernaut.
Yeah, obviously. Little counterintuitive. We go to red-green next. Ramp into monsters.
Right. Yeah. This is again same thing. It's going to be removal, and then really just Elvish Mystic and Generator Servant into Thundering Giants on turn 3 or Ancient Silverbacks on turn 4. So with haste.
Yeah, with haste. That's the important bit. Let's move on. Let's look at the top 5 commons in red-green.
Oh, look, it's another Lightning Strike. And there's Borderland Marauder. Interestingly, we're talking about ramping up to big creatures, but Borderland Marauder there, you get to soften your opponent up, force them maybe even make some trades if your removal's not there. Elvish Mystic starts moving you up the chain, and Lightning Strike. Lightning Strike, you could just do anything from a first pick Lightning Strike. Like, okay, I can just go in any direction. And again, you can even just splash it in any of the other color combinations.
Right. Now, can you ever see a scenario where you open up a Lightning Strike, take it, and you just never end up playing it? Is it a format where you have to be super 2-color, or are there enough maneuverability?
I think there's enough opportunities
Right.
to... again, you're also fine playing a Lightning Strike on turn 6. It doesn't demand to be played on turn 2. Right? You're probably better off waiting to get, a much better creature with it. So...
All right, let's look at the
Uncommons?
uncommons. Yes. We have Randy's favorite Kurd Chieftain.
Yeah, he has not passed the Kurd Chieftain yet, although he might if there was a Cone of Flame, but I'm not certain.
Yeah, I think he likes the Kurd Chieftain a very great deal.
Yeah, and again, we saw that Elvish Mystic on the common slot, 4/4 for on turn 3 with a very relevant ability of, +2/+2 and trample to any creature. Just, the math's going to get very hard for your opponent. And 4 is a lot of damage to deal.
5's also a lot of damage to deal, and there's Juggernaut dealing 5 damage again as one of the top red-green uncommons. Who knew?
Right. Sorry, Heat Ray. We have no room view on this for your art on this slide.
Yeah, so let's move on to our final color pair for now. This time, it's green-white and Convoke, perhaps the most linear of all the possible archetypes in Magic 2015.
Right. Yeah. This is the deck where it's Raise the Alarm, it's Triplicate Spirits, it's all sorts of Satyr Wayfinders, and you just want to play creatures early. The Runeclaw Bears are perfectly fine in this deck, and then just ramp up. You're ramping into Triplicate Spirit. You're convoking into Siege Worm. This is the deck, and you watch the pros play this, and you're like, oh, okay, I was doing that wrong, huh?
So let's take a look at the top 5 commons in green-white, drafted by Magic Online winners, 1st to 5th. Oh look, Triplicate Spirits at the top, more tokens with Raise the Alarm,
Right.
1/1 Elvish Mystic, Mana Acceleration.
The alarm they're raising is that a Triplicate Spirits is going to be played next turn.
Yes, turn 2 Raise, turn 3 Triplicate. Okay, and then you get Netcaster Spider, the 2/3 that's 4/3
Against the flyer. I love that card.
Yes.
I love turtling up behind it and just kind of building out, and then, again, it becomes a mana source for you to cast your Siege Worm.
So there are the top commons. Let's look at the top uncommons. Sunblade Elf, Pump Your Team, Ajani's Pridemate, some life gain, Seraph of the Masses. I'm interested in that, just in terms of how many creatures. At the pre-release, which is obviously a slightly twisted sampling of this, I found that to be super disappointing. Because if I'm spending 7 mana, I want a 5/5 flyer guaranteed with an upside, right? And I'm getting 3/3 flyers for not 7, because I'm convoking, but even so, I'm surprised by that.
I've generally found it costs like 4 or 5.
Yep.
And a 4/4 flyer for that is perfectly reasonable. And it gets bigger as the game goes along. Sometimes it gets smaller, sadly.
Yeah.
But I actually had a lot of success with that. The only time I've actually played with it was in a wacky draft at San Diego Comic-Con where they just sort of pull packs out of a box.
Yeah.
But it was terrific for me there without, a lot of token generation. It was just good.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that when we don't put you at a table with 4 Hall of Famers and 3 Pro Tour winners, turns out you're kind of a wolf amongst sheep. I saw your Twitter post from San Diego.
My decks were good.
Yes, they were. And then you went and beat people with them. Who knew? All right. Well, those are 5 of our color pairs, but Magic 2015 has been a set long in the making, and that, of course, means the good folks at R&D back at Renton, Washington. I had the chance to go and visit Seattle and take a good look at all the pieces of the puzzle to make this Magic 2015 set. So over the next 2 days, when we get a few minutes here and there, pairings are just about to go up, by the way, for our next round, and we have the chance to show you how this set got made. So why don't we show you part 1 of Inside R&D.
Hello everyone, welcome to Inside R&D, coming to you from Renton, Washington, the home of Wizards of the Coast. I'm your host Rich Hagan, and it's time for us to get under the hood of Magic's latest core set, Magic 2015. You know, core sets have always been a little bit different, but this time, well, they've really gone to town.
A core set is the baseline expression of Magic that we want to show off the way the game and the mechanics work and draw you in, so that when we take you to these different fantastic worlds each year, you have a starting point to relate to them from.
When you work on a core set, there's a certain sense of freedom that you have that while the world guides are awesome, and I love working on worlds with world guides, you'll feel almost unfettered, that the sky is the limit. When you're writing flavor text or writing concepts, you can imagine worlds we haven't even gotten to go to yet, and that's really exciting.
We can see things that you know and love from wherever you may have encountered them, movies, role-playing games, video games, and say, here they are in Magic, they work the way you think they're going to work, and it's all here for you. And then from there we can take you to Innistrad, or we can take you to Theros, or we can take you to Tarkir and say, this is our world and here's how things work there, but you now have this frame of reference. You've learned how to play using a Pegasus and a Djinn and these various other kind of very familiar things to you, so that we can take you on a wild ride once you've learned all that stuff.
I think once upon a time, yes, core sets were very lighthearted, very, very high fantasy. Over time, and I'm talking way back in the day, over time, core sets have kind of started to serve more and more of a purpose, especially since Duels of the Planeswalkers has come along. And now we're seeing that core sets can be used as a very strong vehicle to tell those stories. And the more it gets tied into Duels of the Planeswalkers, and the more we want to tell stories in duels, the more the core set is really doing some pretty heavy lifting and helping us tell stories about our 5 awesome, iconic Planeswalkers.
We want you to be able to build a whole variety of decks. So there's all of these deck ideas seeded throughout common and uncommon, that as you start accumulating cards, whether in the video game or as you get booster packs of the card set, that there's these little hooks that get you to say, ooh, I could try that, ooh, that sounds really neat. So that we're not just saying, it's a bunch of random cards, do whatever, but oh, here's an idea, here's another idea, here's another idea, whether it's slivers or the color lords or the different build around enchantments, so that the depth of Magic is apparent to you relatively quickly without overwhelming you.
Way, way long ago in Ravnica, the original Ravnica set, Richard Garfield came up with a mechanic for the Boros Legion. And I said, that's an awesome mechanic, Richard, but I think you have it in the wrong guild. I really think we need it in Selesnya. The green-white needs it more. The green-white was all about the group, and it had a slower sort of play style that played really well with Convoke. Now, I think of the 10 mechanics in the original Ravnica, that Convoke was the best mechanic. I was a huge fan of Convoke. And I knew one day we'd bring it back. The question was, when and where? And when we were trying to do 2015, they were looking for a simple mechanic that's flavorful, that would add a twist to the gameplay, but in a way that was easily grokkable. And Convoke fit the bill.
Internally, some of our brand guys have been reaching out to game development studios, video game houses, other game companies, and hearing that like they love playing Magic there, and they have a league at their office, and can we send them some cards, or can we get together and play with them? And it really hit me that Magic is the game that other game designers play. And I thought, wow, wouldn't it be great if we could showcase that in our product somehow?
Magic itself has this ability where you can kind of design your own game, and that appeals to people who like making games. So over the years, we've realized there's lots and lots of fans who play Magic who are game designers. And we said, well, wouldn't it be neat to reach out and bring some of their expertise in other games to Magic?
We ended up with these 14 external designers, plus the 15th is you, the Magic community. And it was this back and forth where they'd submit ideas. Some of them were really, really familiar with Magic, and it was just a matter of kind of, you know, oh, this design among these 6 designs I'd be happy to put in the set. With others, they were coming a little bit more from an outsider's perspective, and so there was a lot more back and forth, and that was also really cool because they often had an outsider's perspective, and that meant we were going to do something different than how we normally make Magic cards.
I always like core sets because it's almost like a clip show of your favorite worlds, so you get to remember how you felt when you were playing Innistrad or how you felt when you were playing Lorwyn. So there's a sense of nostalgia and reminiscence.
So the job of a core set is to be the best entry level we can. That we want something that is intriguing and fun, but is not so complex that it would throw someone who's being introduced to the game. Also, it's a sampler. That I think the core set is being, you know, when you get a little box of chocolates, it's like a little sampler to see what Magic has to offer. Ooh, I like this one with nuts. Oh, well, maybe you would like Innistrad. Oh, I like this one with cashews. Oh, maybe you'd like Zendikar. You know, that as you try things, it shows you what the world of Magic has to offer. Innistrad's full of nuts, apparently.
Hello everyone, welcome back. That's part 1 of Inside R&D. We'll go through all the colours for you and all the goodness of gold and artifact and land. There's some real goodies in that segment, that's for sure. All right, so the players are sitting down, they're gearing up for round 2. We'll be right down, of course, you'll not miss a thing. But Biddy, I wanted to talk briefly about some of the players who are going for the highest goal in the game in terms of a season, which is platinum. So why don't we take a look on the hunt for platinum, a few of the players who are trying to do their thing and get here. So let's take a look, and we begin with the players who are already in.
Right, they just show up, they get 3 points. That means they were within 3 pro points of the 45-point plateau you need to get to platinum. They would have loved to have gotten there beforehand because it would have meant an appearance fee at this event, but they're pretty happy. They know they've got their 45 points locked for the season, and they go into next year knowing they get, you know, they get money every time they show up. They get their accommodations and their airfare taken care of.
Yeah, and by money, we mean 3,000 US dollars per Pro Tour, which is not to be sniffed at, and Grand Prix appearance fees as well.
And interestingly, most of those names are right also in the mix for the World Championship.
Yes, that bottom line, Fennell, Hayne, McLean, Stark, Wilson, that's your 44-point log jam of who's going to make it in to the World Championship. All right, now everyone else has some work to do, so let's take a look at our next tier. And these are just some of the players. We're picking out some of the big names for you who have this to go at.
So
now,
Pierre Dejean started the season off with a 2nd place finish at Pro Tour Theros against his good friend Jeremy Desani, but he needs 1 single extra point. 100, getting into the top 100 gives you 1 extra point, gives you 4 pro points, and then he's just going to be 1 point shy of platinum if he doesn't get there.
Yeah, and it may well be that a record of 9 and 7, maybe 10 and 6, may be around what he's looking for. What about our next tier up? Let's take a look.
Well, there you see Patrick Dickman, Eric Froelich, Ralph Levy. They just need to get to top 75, which means they need to get to 5 points. And Dickman's been was chasing after that pretty hard.
Yeah, he has been. Also worth noting that if you're looking at pairings, don't just Google Dickman, because his brother Fabian is a PTQ winner this time around. So both of them, we do have brothers in action.
That's his twin brother, right?
That's right, yep. So Fabian and Patrick both playing this weekend. Eric Froelich, of course, from Channel Fireball. Raphael Levy, the founding father of Team Revolution, which, of course, Pierre Dajon and Jeremy Desani are on.
And the captain of the reigning World Magic Cup team.
So on we go. Let's see what's next. Top 25, you get Zatelkai, Adel Nakamura, and Guillaume Wafatapa. And then what about top 16? Let's take a look. For that, your top 16 people trying to make it in. Those are just some of the names.
Sure.
And those 5 are huge names.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that we have huge names in the feature match area right now. We have Sam Black against Ken Yukihiro. We have Owen Turtenwald against Jared Betcher, the heir apparent to Rookie of the Year. We have Mark Tobiash, who had an incredible Grand Prix Boston last weekend. You should check his matches out against Frank Scarron. But we begin with a World Magic Cup domestic dispute. On 38 points from Brazil, it's Willie Adel. On 27 points from Brazil, it's Paulo Vitor Dama da Rosa. Round 2, now.